Okay, there's some news coming out the FA. Martin Glenn, his successor has been named, and his name is Mark Bullingham. Now, this guy is not going to be a household name to many, but let's have a quick look at what he brings to the table. He'll be taking over when Martin Glenn stands down, and we don't know exactly the date when Martin Glenn stands down and Mark Bullingham will take over. But Mark Bullingham has been involved with the FA and employed by the FA since August 2016 when he joined as the Chief Commercial and Football Development Officer. Now, he's been in charge of signing all the sponsorship deals and developing the game at grassroots level. So the Women's Super League, this is one of the guys who helped bring that about. He also is the guy who's helped sign the contract with Barclaycard and Barclays Bank to sponsor the Women's Super League. He's also the guy who helped sign the contract with the BBC's extension of TV rights for the FA Cup and growth in the TV rights for the FA Cup, which I reported on. Now, he's not a household name, but this is what I think is very important. He is a qualified coach, and he does coach youth level football. And part of his statement that he gave today that he wants to increase women's participation, girls' participation, youth participation. He's also very keen on improving the quality of amateur pitches and club infrastructure in the non-league and at grassroots level, somewhere where the FA has failed for quite some time. He also has stated in his statement that he wants to obviously increase the chances of the FA being able to get a major tournament within the next 10, 20 years. He wants the FA to keep bidding for major international tournaments such as the World Cup and the Euros. And there's been a lot of contention about the World Cup and the Euros, and there has been a lot of rumours of having a joint bid with Scotland, Wales and Ireland and Northern Ireland to host the World Cup or the Euros in the future. That has been on the agenda, that has been something that has been talked about, and he's come out and said, we want to try and bid and host major tournaments. He also admits that the FA does have some structural problems, and he's admitted that his to-do list when he does take over is going to be very, very long. And some of the issues that the FA has faced is governance, transparency, and the handling of issues such as the Mark Sampson scandal with Eni Aluko, the racism scandal, and participation and involvement of minority groups in running of the game. Now, the fact that he's been involved with women's football and youth football and amateur football, and he's very keen to improve grassroots level, and that's part of what he's come out and said that he wants the FA to focus on is improving the infrastructure and quality of non-league amateur football. Sunday League football. He wants to increase, pitches, improve the quality of them, their upkeep. He wants to put more funding in, the infrastructure around grassroots football. And that is something I think the FA has failed to do for quite some time. The fact that he is a qualified youth coach is a positive for me. It says that he is involved day to day with football clubs up and down the country. He's qualified as a coach. He does it in his spare time. So he has a little bit more of an understanding of how the game works than some of the old Blazers, I think, in charge of the FA. I think that's where the FA has gone wrong over the years, is there's not enough coaches and ex-players and ex-coaches involved with the day-to-day governance of the sport in this country. Now, this guy is a qualified coach, so therefore he is involved with the day-to-day grassroots of football, and he has been before he joined the FA. Now, he joined the FA 2.5 years ago, but for the previous year and a half before that, so going back to 2014, 2015, he got his coaching badges. So this is a positive. It's someone who actually knows the struggles of non-league and youth level football in the country. There is a financial struggle. There used to be lots of youth and women's football played in my local community, and I see less and less kids and women playing the game now. Several of my friends played for local women's teams. They don't play anymore. So that's something that's got to be on the agenda, is keeping those minority groups and kids, keeping them playing in the game, supporting the game and developing in the game. That's something that I think the FA needs to get right, which they've got wrong for a very, very long time. But we'll have to see what he does and when the exact date that he starts. So he will stay in his development and financial office kind of at the moment. But he's done some good things in that department. And he's not a household name. Maybe that goes to his advantage, because there's been a lot of criticism of the FA, of their handling of a lot of things, their transparency, and I think he's going to have to take that on board, and he's going to have to work with the various people involved and supporters groups, ex-players, the PFA. There's a lot of issues with the PFA needing to reform as well. I think reform is on his agenda. So it'll be interesting to see how much the FA reforms when he takes over, and the direction that the FA takes with TV rights. And I think that's important, is the last batch of Premier League TV rights, a lot of games went unsold. So will the FA get involved with that process, and will we see more club football that's not FA Cup related on free-to-air TV. Now, the League Cup has gone totally to Sky, and I think that's a great shame because the League Cup semi-finals and final used to be shown on the BBC, and I remember it fondly. Blackburn, my team, winning the League Cup just after the Millennium in the Millennium Stadium at 2001 against Tottenham, or 2002, I believe, and winning that trophy. And I remember the classic League Cup semi-final between Aston Villa and Blackburn that went to extra time, over 2 legs. It was a titanic struggle, a lot of goals scored, and unfortunately I missed that on the telly for personal reasons. But I do remember that they took the League Cup off the TV and put it on Sky, so it was not on free-to-air anymore. That's something that I think the FA needs to look at, is getting the League Cup possibly back on free-to-air TV. I think that would be a positive, and because I think that cup competition has lost some of its lustre, the League Cup. I think it's taken less seriously by the big clubs. It is a minor trophy. It's not as important as the FA Cup or the Premier League, but it would be nice to see the League Cup back on free-to-air TV. I think where the FA have gone wrong is how they've restructured the League Cup. I don't think that's necessarily working to the favour of smaller clubs, and I think it does add to fixture congestion. The FA also has got rid of replays in the 5th round onwards in the FA Cup. Are replays going to disappear entirely from the FA Cup? That's something else that I think Mark Bullingham will have to look at, is how the FA Cup is structured. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens from here. Thank you very much for watching. What are your thoughts on Martin Glenn's replacement? The fact we don't know much about him, could that work to his favour? He seems to be a very hard worker, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from here. But thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon.